Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So it has actually been what, 4-ish days since I made the last update video for this tank, where we discussed, we might be doing some future plans and whatnot to this tank. And of course, like 3 days after I made that video, things started going crazy as usual. So I woke up, I didn't wake up, I went to work, and around 3 or 4 in the morning, I noticed none of my lights were on and I was at work. So I asked my wife to see, hey, what is going on? So we looked at it and everything was just off. I had power, that was not the problem, but everything that was connected did not turn on. So after fumbling around, we kind of figured it out. It is, of course, what you see right there is currently hanging, which is my apex. So the apex just decided all of a sudden it didn't feel like helping me manage my tank anymore. Completely turned off absolutely everything. Luckily, being home, being able to fidget with things, it wasn't that big of a deal. We were able to kind of do a bypass, pull all the plugs out, and just plug in the most important things into the tank into this outlet right here, and just keep it kind of on life support for the next couple days. So now it's finally my Saturday. I actually have time to do something with this, kind of figure it out. So I guess we're going to be starting the transition earlier than expected for the new tank, and kind of as a small birthday present to myself, we're going to go ahead and switch this apex out. And we're actually going to be switching it to this guy. It is the X4, so that is the controller and the outlets that connect to it. We're gonna go ahead and switch to something new, and the biggest reason is Apex has really started to piss me off. Not to say that it's necessarily a bad company in any way, but it's not my first head that I've lost. The outlets, so like the EB832s that we have back there that control it, those seem to work fine. But for some reason, this is like the second head I've gone through that's failed, and I really don't have a reason why. This thing is pretty straightforward. It's doing what it's supposed to do, and then one day it just goes kaplooey. We've tried doing some resolutions through customer service, but it's really just not that helpful. So I've decided, hey, we're going to try something different. We're going to completely, switch brands just to see if it's a little better. And the biggest reason I'm switching to Hydros is sometimes when things go wrong, you want it fixed immediately. With something like the Apex, I do feel like it takes too long for them to fix any issues. You do have to troubleshoot, which involves emailing. If you email, they respond maybe once a day. And at that point, if it's a big issue, they'll troubleshoot one thing per day, and next thing you know, a week or two has gone by, and it's still not fixed. Versus, at least with the Hydros, for example, this box right here, I was able to overnight it. It came literally the next day. Say if Hydros itself is terrible as well, and dies, or I get it wet, or just something happens, worst case, I can get another one tomorrow. I can order another head. It's actually available for sale. I have not been able to find anywhere that just sells a head for an Apex where I could just switch it over. So that for me is the biggest reason why I want to go ahead and switch. And of course, trying something new, just because it has fancy lights on it and looks kind of sparkly and cool with like rainbows, and it looks a bit more modern than the Apex. So it is something I want to give it a try. And of course, because it involves all of my equipment, as you can see, it's just a complete rat's nest everywhere, because I was literally just ripping plugs out of the outlets to try to salvage it and put it into, a power supply, just so I could power at least something to keep everything alive. We are going to go ahead and do a little bit of rat's nest work. Try to consolidate this up a little bit so it just looks a little bit better. We are actually going to go ahead and get rid of this little Red Sea stand I've been using as a table. I went ahead and just bought something from IKEA to go ahead and put in this spot, and it kind of fits perfectly. You'll see in a second. It's an IKEA Eket, I believe that's how you would say it, and it fits almost perfectly in that slot right there. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and move everything here to the side. I'm going to go ahead and bring in that box, and we're going to get started. All right, so he's going at it, but here is the cabinet itself from IKEA. Once we put it maybe a little farther back like this, you can kind of see it'll fit perfectly along this edge, and it'll just slide right into the back. I went ahead and drilled a hole right there too, just for cords to be fed through. And then I plan to have these guys vertically, kind of like that, to hold everything against the wall. And then I may do the same thing kind of on the bottom. I haven't really figured out. I might just use the bottom for power supplies instead, just to keep them down there and not in the way. But yeah, that's kind of what it's going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and feed the Hydros and this little guy. I'll explain him a little bit. We'll go ahead and feed him through the hole here first, just so we can get everything ready to be plugged in. All right, and next up we have the Hydros itself. So I got the X4 and the XP8. So that is this controller, and then that plug thing, like the EB832s for all the plugs. And then what I mentioned is this guy right here. So this is like what's considered, I guess, top of the line. As far as like an outlet, it's super heavy duty apparently. And I'm going to use it basically for redundancy, like a hybrid system, and not put everything onto the Hydros, because at the end of the day, it's probably better not to trust this than to completely put everything on it. So what we're going to do, we're going to put all systems that don't really need to ever turn off onto this guy. So what that's going to include most likely is going to be the lighting, which I can switch off via app, the return pump, which is just pretty much always going to be on. Actually, no, scratch that, not the return pump, the power heads, because the MP40s, I can turn them off on the app, so I don't actually need to turn them off physically, with either Hydros or here. They'll just always stay on. But things, for example, like the return pump, I will need to be on the Hydros. For example, if I'm doing water changes, I will need to turn all the power off. Heater will definitely be on here as well, but we're also going to make sure that we don't put too much power on either one of these. We want to have kind of a good split, just so we're not, overwhelming one system, even though it should be just fine. I'm running pretty efficiently on this system here, but I just kind of want to show you what that split I'm talking about is. Anything that needs to be controlled is going to go on to here, and then anything that can stay on, for example, like my refugium lights, is going to go onto this sucker. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and just have two of these. Really, this one is just for control, for like the calcium reactor, anything that ever needs to be turned off for maintenance, so on and so forth, and then general care like the heater, and then yeah, things that just stay on all the time will go right there. All right, and here we are after about 2 hours, still working at it, but I basically pulled all the old wiring out. You can kind of see in here, it's completely clean now. Obviously, these are just extension cords. The lighting I haven't really worked on yet, but that's fine, because the corals can go a day without lighting. But here are all the ballasts that I already had. Here are the controllers and the extension cords. Nice and kind of clean. I tied all the MP40s together, and yeah, the back is less of a rat's nest right now. We're gonna try to get as much done as I can, but just wanted to give you a quick little update of just all the wiring going away. Cool. See you in a bit. Good morning, fam. So it's actually been a couple days since I went ahead and put everything together, so I'll go ahead and show you just how much nicer I made it. You know, some of those comments of having a kind of a, what do you call it, a rat's nest in the or a bird's nest in the little power area always kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but I think I did a pretty good job. So you know, I was able just to remove everything. There are actually no cables in here except for the power supplies in the back, just my calcium reactor right here, and then everything was moved into this guy right here. So that is my Eket from IKEA. Got the nice modern wood feet just to, you know, keep it a nicer look instead of black. And then I have to work on the wiring and whatnot in here, but it's pretty simple. For the most part, they're easily separated, and we'll have the controller, the XP4, and then my power brick, and then just the adapters down there, and I'll get that cleaned up shortly once I make some kind of mounts on this honeycomb grid right here to actually hold them in place. And yeah, so far the Hydros have been doing pretty good. No Wi-Fi issues for me as of yet versus the Apex, which is the main reason I switched. And one thing I actually didn't know is you don't even need that. So for example, on the Apex, you need the brain and you need the outlets. I did not realize, I always just assumed that you needed the same, but you can actually just have the outlets, which is awesome. So I could just get a bunch of outlets, not have to monitor anything really, unless I wanted to for like temperature, for example, like the basics. But I could just get a whole bunch of those and just work off of that and have Wi-Fi. So that is really cool. Like I mentioned, I never realized that was the thing. I just assumed it was the same as Apex. You needed a brain, then you needed an outlet. But yeah, other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Once you close it up, it is nice and sleek, and I just, you know, on my next decent day off, when I have the time, I can go ahead and print the mounts for it. But yeah, it just looks so much cleaner now. No wiring in there, so that appeases all of y'all who have been complaining. It's nice and slim factor on the side, which appeases my wife, and then I just have the ATO kind of on the side there. But that is it for this episode. Quick and easy, nothing all that interesting. Just finally, you know, starting phase 1, getting the rat's nest out of the, you know, little bottom cabinet area. And next up this week, we will be going ahead and starting to purge a lot of these coral. So I already do have a scape in mind. It is already being made, and slowly but surely we will be starting to get rid of some coral to make way for the new scape, make some money back. Of course, I'm keeping a bunch of pieces for myself to regrow out. But yet, other than that, that is it for today. Thank you guys as always for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.